10:50 p.m. I'm dead asleep. I've exercised great sleep hygiene. Literally, I did all the things. I was like, I had my blue light glasses on. I actually did. I read myself a bedtime story, Shoe Dog, the Nike story. And I'm dead asleep. It's incredible. It's 10:50 p.m. And I get this weird, you know when a sound wakes you up, but you don't know what the sound was, right? Because you were asleep.
Yeah.
And it was like this weird, almost like a sound of a knock on a door, but like a like digital sound of that.
And I'm like,
this is the St. George Real Estate Morning Drive. Welcome in. We hooked him, didn't we, guys?
You did.
Gotcha. But the story is a true story. Jeremy, Larkin, Jesse, Paul.
Good morning, everybody.
We will definitely edutain you this morning about real estate. But before we go on, so I wake up and I'm like, that something's not right. So I think, what was that sound? I'm looking around my room. My wife's in Italy. And it's kind of weird because we've been apart for 10 days, 11 days now. It's been a very long time. And I said, maybe I better look at my phone. My phone's plugged in on my bathroom counter. It's what I have to do now because too distracting. And I open it up. Now, let me give you the punchline. No one died or was injured. Back to the story. It's an iPhone 911 alert. Eli Larkin has named you as emergency contact. He's been in a car accident. This is my 21-year-old. I'm like,
oh.
I look at the location, and it's right down by Ribbon Shop.
Yeah, right off Convention Center Drive.
I'm like, what? I call his phone. He doesn't answer. I call his mom. She doesn't answer. Guys, I was out. I'd been asleep about 30 minutes. I put on some sweats, whatever you call them, socks, hoodie, hat. I grabbed my backpack. Literally, I was like, well, I might be at the hospital for a few. I don't know. It was just sitting there as I'm like my hands touching the door to leave, and I'm so out of it. His mom calls. Hey, I'm like, hey, what's up? Yeah, there's no accident. I said, what happened? He's like, well, apparently they took off from down there, he and his friend, and he left his phone sitting on the car or something, and it hit the ground. A police officer called with the phone.
Oh, that's funny.
I'm like, but here's what's happened. My nervous system's so inside out at this point.
Yeah, you're not going back to sleep.
So he called me 15 minutes later. Dad, can you believe this? I'm like, well, I can, but I don't love it. And fortunately, he was fine. And I'm going to tell you the softest, sweetest, saddest part about it. So we talked for about 3 minutes. So he and Eliana, Marcy's daughter, Theodore, yeah, they're really dear friends. So they'd been hanging out, and it's like one of his best buddies, and they drive off, and he left his phone sitting in the car. I've done it. I've done it with a planner, like the Franklin Day planners. I left one on top of my car at Paula's restaurant 15 years ago, and I drove down Bluff, and some guy found it, and the pages were everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So we hang up, and the police had found it, and they'd gone back, and they were using Find My to find the phone. So with her, because she had his location. So they go back, it wraps up. And about 10 minutes later, I'm now wide awake. So where do I go? Zillow. I'm on Zillow in northern Utah because Jen and I are obsessed with these ranch properties. Yeah, and I'm like, I've got it. Of course, naturally, I just pulled this glaring blue light onto my face because that would be the right way to nurse myself
back to sleep. Yeah.
And he sends a text, says, look where it sent a message. And it sent it to all of his emergency contacts. And it sent it to my mom, but my mom hasn't been alive for 8 months. So it was the last text message he'd sent her was, hey, Grandma, happy birthday, I love you. It was April 25th of last year. She's laid to rest across the street. So that was his last text, and then the next text was this. I was like, oh, man. Kind of pulled at my heartstrings. So my son's fine. The phone apparently is fine. And I woke up at 7:20, and these guys were laughing about me walking into the radio show last second. Well, that's not new.
The only guy I've ever met that can walk in with 20 seconds to go, fully has to set up his computer. You know, we haven't talked about what we're going to talk about and just put on a show. With not even a sweat.
I feel good about it.
Yeah.
Guys,
it's impressive.
Thank you. I've had some practice. Did anybody figure out how many shows it would be if we started in February of 99? How many? What? 99. Just 99. Wait, no, it's more than 99.
February of 2012?
Oh, you mean full radio shows?
Well, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. Because here's what I'm wondering. I'm like, if I go back and we probably did 50 a year. I guess we just do that math, huh? We didn't always do 52 because there's a recording. Have we done 48 a year? Let's call it 48 a year. 40. Jesse's in Chat GPT. I can already see it. And we're actually going to share some real estate information, I assure you.
You started when?
February of 2012. So it's 16 years times, well, there you go. So, the bottom line is this, guys. We've been on the air for a long time. And Jesse's doing something hard. I just multiplied 16 by 50 on my phone, and it was 800. I don't know what you were doing that took that long.
672.
Interesting.
February of 2000.
I'm going to say 48. Yeah, and that's fair. I get what you're doing is you're getting the actual numbers of months. It's probably 700 shows.
Yeah.
And I want to tell you something. When I started doing this radio show, the average sales price in St. George, Utah was about
200.
275. So the average sales price of a home in St. George, Utah was about 275. And I want to back some people down memory lane. Since we're on memory lane now, I've been talking about Dixie. Can you imagine? My mother's name was Dixie. That was 12. In 11 was the heyday of my foreclosure sales career, representing Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, HUD, housing, the urban development, governmental entities. And guys, this was the wild, wild west of foreclosures. I mean, most people weren't here for it, or they don't remember it, or they just weren't close enough to it. It was also a long time ago. Yeah, right? I mean, by the way, I said 16 years, 14 years. I meant to tell you that I knew that I'd spoken the wrong word here.
Okay.
So you're right about 675 to 700. Guys, this is what it was like for me that year. If you want to understand how many foreclosures there were, understand that there are many agents in Washington County, and there were about 10 of us that were the foreclosure kings and queens, meaning that we had these relationships with these banks. You actually have a contract with them, and they were dispatching us to sell these homes. I was getting 10 to 20 properties per month sent to me by these banks. Per month. I think one month I got 25 or something. It was almost a home every day. And I'd get an email, and it would say this. You'd see it. You'd instantly know what it was. And it was like a major dopamine shot. You guys think Instagram's fun? Blueform Media? By the way, our show is brought to you by Blueform Media, at Blueform Media. Every one of these homes that came to me was a listing that I was going to sell and get paid.
Yep.
I'd get an email that said like this: asset number, and there would be a 6-digit number, DJ534320, something like that. Okay. There was always 2 letters and a series of numbers, and I would open it up, and it would say, a property has been foreclosed at this address, and it would be like 123 Banana Street. And my job was this. Attached to that email would be something called a Know Your Options. Now, I had somebody last night ask me this. I got multiple offers, Jesse, on a client's home.
Yeah.
2 offers, Kim West. And Kim might have a 3rd offer on her home. She said, I'm looking for a home. Can I find a foreclosure? I want to compare these times, guys. Can I find a foreclosure? What do you think I told her right now?
Very, very unlikely.
Probably not.
I mean, there's a few out there, but very, very, very few.
Guys, I was getting, honestly, I said 10 to 20. That was low. It was 15 to 20 every month, me alone, to deal with for the bank. At the time, if you search for a foreclosure active listing, there were 250 of them, like on the MLS, like at any time. You're just like, okay, cool, let's go find a distressed property. So
they're so rare right now. You've got to remember how to actually search for them.
Yeah.
Back then, it was such a thing that it was just
short sales, foreclosures. So it would say, hey, you need to go out to this property, and you're going to post a Know Your Options form. So there's one actually right around Mallier and Blake's property. You guys have heard me tell the story about how I found the freezer of dead meat that had bled out of, like, does that sound crazy? It was like a bunch of beef, and the freezer had defrosted and all the blood had come out of it. But when I went in the house, I thought that there was a pool of blood in the kitchen, and I thought I walked on a crime scene. It's right around the corner from your house.
Okay, so let me just tell you how many there are.
How many there are
this big number?
Yeah.
2.
There are 2 foreclosures on the multiple listing service.
And hold on. and let's say,
This is
because people also look for, okay, what about short sales? There's actually 18 short sales on the market right now, currently.
Yeah, short sale meaning that the seller's selling their home, but the problem is that they paid more, they owe more to the bank than the home is valued at. So
actually, there's 24 because there's 6 under contract.
Okay. So I'd get this thing and I'd go out, I'd take this option and I would tape it to the front door or the window. Now you need to understand something. 70% of the time there was no one there. 30% there was, we're going to talk about it, Jesse. So it would say, hey, this property has been foreclosed. If you're the owner, I mean, it was very gentle language, but it was a standard form. If you're the owner, like, I got bad news, you don't own the home anymore.
Yeah.
If you're the tenant, I got bad news, you're leaving. But you have some rights under the law, and you need to call this phone number, and you need to call, and then my information was on there. And they would call, and Fannie Mae didn't play any games.
Right.
So it's called cash for keys. I'll give you cash, you're going to give me the keys. There were some of these banks like Rhett Smith was dealing with where people would negotiate. They were gamers. They knew the game. They'd negotiate for 10, 15, 20 grand to get out. Fannie Mae was real simple. It's $2,346 starting now. Every week that you ignore this, the number goes down, and there was a calculation. And if you don't like it, we'll sue you, you'll lose, and you'll be out on your head. They did not mess around.
Yeah.
And by the way, I almost never had an issue because I was pretty assertive. I was compassionate, but I would say, listen, Jesse, here's the thing. I need to let you know, you can fight this. But ultimately, you're not going to get anything from the bank, and you're still going to be out.
Yeah.
So you have to decide, do I just want to squat for a while? And, like, of course, free rent's probably more valuable than $2,400.
Right.
So I would give this notice, and then we would come up with a date for them to move. And then the day that they would move, we would meet them. Man, talk about the uncomfortable situations that I went through. I would meet them with the locksmith. It was always Phil Jensen.
Yeah.
The locksmith would come with me, and we'd say, hi, happy Tuesday. Here's your check.
And he would change the lock.
And, we look back and people will listen to this show, some people, and go, wow, that was dastardly. Look, it was either me or somebody else. And there was, I don't think we can get into morals. First of all, there's definitely nothing illegal. There's nothing immoral. It's like people were going to foreclosure, right? And so,
and not only that, they knew about it for a long time.
Most people had known for at least a year.
And during
some of them 2 to 3 years.
And during that time, many of those were actually strategic.
Oh yeah,
they were choosing to do that on purpose. So while I hear you, how dastardly, but that's not the whole story.
No, it's most definitely not the whole story. You know what Paul Harvey said, and now you know the rest of the story.
It's one thing if you're doing that and they have no idea, they just ended up there. No. People, we make choices throughout our lives that put us there.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
that put me there. I made choices throughout my life that put me in situations where I really didn't want to be. But it wasn't you that put me there.
Yeah.
I get a little bit irritated about that kind of stuff. Like, hey, wait a minute. What about the responsibility, the self-responsibility for the situation that I put myself in?
Well,
and I'm a guy that's actually, I've never been foreclosed on a house, but I've definitely been in other situations, where they're dragging my car away and I'm trying to get my stuff out of the trunk.
Your story, which I'll never be the one to tell your story on the air, but you come from a background, and a group of people now that are some of the most honest, take ownership for their stories people on the planet.
Yeah, my wife and I were just talking about that we've learned so much in recovery about not only taking the personal responsibility, but your opinion of me is none of my business.
Yeah, it's beautiful, man.
And
well, I mean, yeah, I was gonna say. So you've alluded there, because I always want to be careful with that. But
you can.
Jesse,
I'm an open book.
But you want to talk about the most ownership-oriented people in the world. It's people who have come out who are in recovery out of 12-step rooms.
Yeah.
Who are like, oh, I made it. I made the bed. I slept. I'm sleeping in it.
And the reason for that is that's the way we stay alive.
Yeah.
And that's the way we stay in recovery, is that rampant accountability.
Oh yeah, I love it.
Like, because if somebody else put me there, I'm screwed. I don't have any way out. But if I can figure out how I got myself there, then I can somehow get myself out too.
Yep. Yeah, and I really appreciate you saying
down that road.
Well, but this is fun. We said we were going to ad-lib this show today. And look, this is Jeremy Larkin, by the way, Jesse Paul, the Larkin Group at KW Realty. We've done now we've calculated 675, pushing 700 live radio shows about the real estate market, life. Opened with a story about getting an iPhone 911 notification. My son was in an accident, which he wasn't. His phone was in an accident, fell off of a car. I was on a cruise ship in January, and we got a slip and fall notification for my dad, who's 85.
Oh, yeah.
He had walked into his brother's home. A lot of our listeners know my dad. He walked into his twin brother Daryl's home. They were going to play cards, watch a BYU game, something. And he tripped on the threshold and went down. And so I was on a cruise ship, and I got a notification, and I called him, and he said, Allie's already here, and Travis has already called me, and Tim and Tiffany have already called me. And Eli last night said, well, we now know that the accident thing works and the fall notification works.
So did it call you when it hit the ground, or did the policeman call you?
No, it sent me this notification. It was on my screen.
When it dropped.
I guess.
Interesting. I have to, I can see how that happens. So a few times I've been in a wreck on my bike, and I'll have to stop it from calling Leia. No, I'm okay.
Oh, because you have the crash thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Look, we're in an interesting real estate market, and so many regrets, because my biggest regret from this foreclosure time and taking responsibility is that I didn't go buy 25 homes.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, I would literally be independently wealthy today if I had said, wait a minute, Warren Buffett always says, when people are scared, I get greedy, and when they're greedy, I get scared. Everyone was scared. Home prices were at a decade low. If I had been thinking, I have a catch in my throat this morning, I would have just started buying like crazy.
Yeah.
And, I've told stories on this program of properties that I was selling for $85,000, $90,000 that sell for $350,000 now.
For sure.
$300,000 today, that specific property. So the market is always in flux. And this is maybe a lesson that I want to share today, Jesse, is that I'm going to repeat some things that we've talked about many times over the years. Average sales price of a home today is what? Just
about 600.
Okay. So average sales price at that time is 250 to 275. That's 2012. It's now 600. This isn't as simple as, oh, I should have bought a home for 250. It would be worth 600. You have to understand that with a home, you're paying the mortgage down every month if you have a loan. So that equity spread becomes bigger. If I had been investing, I could have enjoyed that spread on 5 or 10 or 20 properties, right? Yep. The second thing I want to point out, because I'm not saying every single person should own a home. I was visiting with a mentor of mine yesterday. Well, I was in a group. There were 22 of us. And he said he and his wife own a home in the mountains near Big Bear Ski Resort in Southern Cal. But what they do is they rent in Orange County. They rent because they've been putting all of their cash. He's like, it's just what we've done. This guy's in the real estate world. Mm-hmm. He said, we've just the last like 8 to 10 years we've been renting. He said the challenge with renting is that every single time we found a rental we really liked because we wanted to be mobile and
to sell it.
Somebody would sell it out from under him.
Yep. Yeah, you do not have a lot of stability or control when you're in a rental.
Sure. So 5 minutes today on our show. So this is never, for anyone who's listened to us, this has never been the, hey, you should own a home show. No, I actually, I'm one of the voices saying, well, I don't know, maybe you shouldn't. Maybe it makes sense to rent. But that's point number 2.
Yeah.
Point number 3 is something that we've talked about, that there has nary been a 10-year period in which real estate values weren't up at the end of the 10-year period.
Yeah, that's true.
And so when I talk to people about housing, it's simply, A, you have to live somewhere, period.
Yep. We all need a roof over our head.
Yeah. B, maybe you would want to own a home where you get all these tax benefits, you get all of the pride of ownership benefits, you get all of the someone's not going to sell my home out from under me benefits, and then you get the equity spread over time. Let me be clear about owning a home. You pay interest on your mortgage every month.
Yeah,
it ain't free. I think a lot of realtors forget that.
Yeah,
don't they?
They do.
Everyone should own a home. It's like so dumb to rent. Well, you do pay interest on your loan. And home ownership requires you have to take care of it.
Yep.
So there's some downsides, right?
Yeah, definitely.
But
there's ups and downs.
There's ups and downs. But we're going to bring this kind of to a close. The market's going to come, it's going to go. Cycle's going to ebb, it's going to flow.
Mm-hmm.
And St. George is the kind of place, this gal I met with yesterday that's got 2 offers on her home. She was asking Brian, he was sitting here at the front desk, do you think the market's going to crash anytime soon? Well, that's what we say when we want to buy a home.
Yep.
And of course, Brian said, absolutely not. Not here.
We keep expecting it. In fact, since 2023 or 2024, we've every year we think it's going to go down a little bit, and it doesn't. It just continues to be stable. With the current conditions, it should be going down, and it's not.
I want you to say in the last 2 minutes, what do you think that is about?
Well, it's a couple things. Number one, we are in whether we like it or not, we are in a market where people want to come. We get people here from Southern California, Washington State, New York, Idaho, Wyoming, Salt Lake.
Yeah, we're in a crossroads spot.
We are in a spot where people come here. People come here just to visit, and the feeling that St. George gives off just attracts them to stay,
no
or
question.
buy a home, or come back, and so I think that really drives most of it. When 30% of your market is second homeowners, and they keep coming, that's going to stabilize it.
Yeah, absolutely. What's funny is I mentioned we have multiple offers, people competing on a property. While we're sitting here, I saw my phone on the couch, the third offer. Hey, we're going to send you an offer. It's going to be 4:30 today. Sorry, I can't meet with the client until then. People want to be here.
Yeah.
By the way, that is not every listing. We have sellers who need to reduce their price in our final 60 seconds.
Yep.
And until they do, their home is not going to sell. It's the tale of two markets. Jesse, if somebody wants to reach us, how do they track us down?
Either reach out to us, go to Google and Google the Larkin Group, or you can just walk right in the door on the corner of 700 East and Tabernacle.
I love it, man.
Beautiful building.
Big mural on the side of the building. Go stgeorge.com. Jeremy Larkin, Jesse Paul. It is a beautiful May day. Let's go out there and do something good.
All right. Have a good day. Thanks for having us.